Well, strange game. Not sure, like Matt Larson just said at the beginning of the year, if someone had told me that Kenny Goins was going to be our leading scorer, Matt McQuaid second, that we played 4 freshmen, and I thought we might redshirt 3 of them. 50-some minutes or whatever we played them, maybe more. That's 70-some minutes. I was disappointed in the first half of the turnovers, and we cleaned those up and rebounded okay, but I thought we didn't rebound as good as we need to rebound. But we had some lineups in there that they were strange. And then probably the hardest thing is Cassius had a little tendonitis, got hit early, and didn't think he was himself. He wasn't. But nothing that'll linger. It's just got to get a little treatment now. And I looked at my bench, and everybody had knee pads and packs on and all this. But none of that matters now because we made it to the last game, and I said, now you play dead. You die, then you worry about it the next day, but you play dead, and that's kind of what we're going to do. So I give a lot of credit to Tim and his staff and his team. I mean, to be down almost 20 at halftime and battle back, cut it to, 8 or 10, whatever they did, and never quit the second half. We were trying to get some guys some rests, and yet couldn't really do that because of the way they played. But I give a lot of credit to him. He's, his second best player's been out, and we had a little more depth, so we survived some of our stuff. He didn't get a chance to survive his, and that's been a tough run for him. But his team, anytime you have enough character to not quit at halftime in a game like this, shows you a lot about those players and himself and his staff. So I'll open up for questions.
Okay.
Yes.
Tom, would you talk about, again, Kenny just continues to be your glue guy and just continues to emerge and grow?
Yeah, Kenny did a good job tonight. He hit some big shots and got a little shot happy there for a while, because I thought when he took good inside-out shots, he made probably 90% of them. I think forwards aren't supposed to get what they call heat check shots, and I think he thought he was Cassius for a couple minutes there, but Kenny did a pretty good job. They were a load to cover because they went real small. Small means Roby at the 5, and we struggled a little bit with that. Kithier struggled a little bit, but Kenny was he was pretty solid the whole game.
Along with that, the other senior, Matt, has another breakout kind of game. Career highs for both of those guys. Is this a point where you need those seniors to elevate their level?
Yeah, we really do. With what we're going through, seniors are supposed to do this. They worked their whole 4 years, 5 years for Kenny. So proud of Matt, because these games and every practice and every game we play means so much. If you could just see his eyes in the locker room or see him in the huddles, he is, it means the world to him, and he's playing some of his best basketball, and that's good. Now, granted, we didn't do everything good tonight, guys. We turned it over a little less, but we still didn't defensive rebound as good, and we didn't guard as good the second half, but it's a hard team to guard, especially with some of the lineups, and we're trying to do some different things, and none of them work, so that falls on me more than it does the players.
Tom, Aaron Henry, what did you see from him after he made his little jump hook, and it seemed like, that took a lot of pressure off him?
Yeah, it did. We tried to tell Aaron he's got to be a slasher, and he made one shot out there, but he's a very good slasher, very good offensive rebounder, very good dunker. Good in the post, to be honest with you. Made a couple nice post moves. So he too, I think, had a career high. So 3 guys had a career high, and that was all positive. But we're not going to win games that way. We're going to, you're going to win big games by being able to guard and rebound a little. And we rebounded okay, but gave up still 13 offensive, and that sits with me a little bit. And those We had 2 turnovers with 7 minutes left to go in the half, and we had 10 and a half, or 9 and a half time, and that was extremely disappointing. So we still got a lot to work on, but we got a lot to build on too.
I'm not sure. The other day at Indiana, when Aaron looked kind of tentative, I guess is a good way to say it, to see the way he played tonight, and also Gabe, who's been in and out, that they both looked like they weren't hesitant. They were.
Yeah, you know,
kind of
Gabe will never be hesitant. I mean, he could go 100 years and never find a shot he doesn't like. You know, Gabe. Don't worry about Gabe now. He's down there right now, showering, ready to shoot. You know, so he's good. Now Aaron, on the other hand, I think was less tentative, and I think Larry's right when he got that first shot and he made a 3. But he's got to understand what his range is and what he can do. Play with it himself, and that's what I thought he did a good job of tonight. We got out on our break a little better tonight, considering Cash wasn't at full speed, and it's nice to see those 3 guys do well. And Xavier was okay. You know, I thought we got to find a way too, because as those minutes get up for him, kind of wears down too. And so we're just trying to shuffle people around, guys, and come up with some things that we need to come up with, but still have some problems with it too.
Tom, I was going to ask about Gabe too. Just wondering, do you need him a little bit more going forward? Where is he kind of at defensively?
Gabe's not bad. He's got length, and he's gotten better. I said Gabe's a pleaser. I said that last week. You know, he wants to do everything right. He wants to do what he can do. If you ask him to do something, he wants to do it. Sometimes, it takes a little longer to do it, that's all. But experience, he has little of, and I think he's learning to play harder, and that makes up for it a little bit. So, we're gonna, see what happens with Arnie. A couple more days of rest, see what happens. Nick, I still don't see Nick playing, but I do see Nick starting to practice this week, end of the week, and see what happens there. But I think you got to look at us that we're going to play with the guys we got, hopefully plus Arnie, and we'll play as hard as we can play.
With Cassius too right now, I mean, it's something that he's been battling for a while with those knees. How can he play through that, and how has he been playing through that?
You know what? I've been on Cassius since his freshman year, kind of keep pushing him, but Cassius Winston has given me everything he's got, and we just got to figure out now in the next couple of days what we do with him. So that'll be me and Cassius, and I told him he's going to live here and just get a lot of treatment. Some of it's just, he's done a lot. And, but I'm not worried about him. He'll be ready to play on Saturday. I just, we're going to have to, what we do between now and then could change a little bit.
On Cassius, kind of big picture, all these different piecemeal lineups that you've had over the course of the year, what has he done, like when you watch film or whatever, stuff that maybe we don't see, that has kind of been like a tie that binds, that he's just done every game to kind of keep this thing going?
That's one thing I talked to him about before the game, was I said, Cash, you're going to have a couple new people in there now. You might be playing with Foster, which we did that a little bit. You definitely be playing with Gabe. He's going in the first 5 or 6 minutes. We made some pre-decisions on who we're going to sub to make sure I did it. And I said, you're going to really have to use the improved leadership skills that you have, communication. But then he hurt that thing a little bit early in the game, and I thought that made it a little harder. But over the time when we've been doing it, he's just done an unbelievable job of sticking with each guy, knowing what each guy can do. He has done an amazing job of handling these different people, including all of a sudden no Nick. And he gets 10 assists, and one of the guys he got a lot of assists to isn't playing right now. And so I think Cash has earned his medal. I might even give him part of tomorrow off, but we're gonna have to figure out how to make sure he's as healthy as he can be on Saturday.
If you came into this game and you thought, I'm getting 91 points, and I'm getting 8 from Winston, there's no Langford, no Ward, no Arns. Last time you guys scored that many points, all those guys were here.
Yeah,
And it's not an offensive game altogether, but that has to be a little bit of a positive there.
It's a big positive, you know, it's a big positive. I don't live and die with us shooting 12 threes, but I don't live and die with us giving up 10 either. So, you know, we've still got to hang our hat on what we've been hanging it on for 24 years. We've still got to defend, we got to rebound, and we got to run. And our defense, first time in a while, we've given up in the 40s. They shot 41. And they shot 37 from the 3, so those two things got to improve. And our rebounding being a +9, but giving up 13 offensive, those got to improve. Our offense can stay the same. Okay, if we can keep that the same, and improving those other two, I'll be happy coach. But I don't want our guys to think, you know, that's why I said Kenny got heat check happy there on a couple of those when he shot them quick. And we can't live and die with that. They did a good job, too, of collapsing. They were athletic and long. You know, the one thing we told our team before, Watson is a very jet quick, you know, he's kind of tum-tum, he can shifty guy. Everybody else on that team, because the Allen kid was out, and it probably hurt him a little bit, probably helped him, because everybody in that team is 6'6" to 6'9", and 6'11", and athletic, long. And that was a challenge for us a little bit, especially defensively on certain things. And when they moved Roby to the 5, you know, they hurt us on some things that we weren't ready for with the lineups we were playing. And so I guess it'll give us something good to look at tonight, try to shore up tomorrow morning, and there might be a little more mental parts of practice now because we're on break, no rules. NCAA doesn't handcuff you if you practice a little longer, put in a few extra hours. But I don't think we'll be able to practice any longer. I think we're going to have to study harder and figure out what we're going to do that way, and we'll be able to come up with something. But, you know, all in all, it was good to get some guys in the game. It's good to still get 22 assists, you know. It was good to shoot well from the free throw line and the 3. You know, so there were definitely some positives. It was good to, you know, almost have to threaten them on the turnovers, but we only had one in the second half. You know, this team made some progress because it's not easy not to turn the ball over when you're playing with guys you never played with before. I mean, that's difficult. And so I just don't have room to be sympathetic about it. And I think they proved to themselves in the second half that maybe if you don't try to do things that are beyond what you should be doing, you don't turn it over.
Tom, were you surprised at all with some of the looks that Kenny and Matt were able to get? I know in the pregame radio show you said that dumping into X would be an emphasis for you guys today. I don't know if that resulted in some of those looks for Kenny and Matt, or if it was something else that developed.
But we did go in there,
along the way.
but you know, the one thing Xavier does an unbelievable job of is he's a great screen setter, and I thought we freed Matt. Matt did a great job of coming off picks. I mean, Matt has worked so hard in this last, you know, I mean, poor kid didn't practice for a week, but before that he'd worked so hard. And like I say, if you go down and talk to him right now, this part of the season means the world to him. And that's, you know, you like to capture that and put it into freshmen and say, you can do that and maintain it, but that's why experience matters. And, you know, he doesn't want it to end. And it's so nice to see him do what he did. And I think part of it was he exploded off screens, he ran his lane better, he got a couple threes. You know, we got some stuff off the break for once. I don't know. I mean, we got 19 points off the break. That was another area that we were really poor in. For some reason, this game that we haven't had a problem with all year is they got 17 points. Our transition defense was kind of below average. So we got enough things to work on all night tonight, enough things to improve on tomorrow, and get ready for the next game.
Mike and Jim, last two.
Tom, at Big Ten Media Day, you were asked about the 20-game conference schedule, and you said Jim Delaney is a genius for it. Now, heading into the 20th game, I'm curious if your opinion of the 20-game schedule has changed in any ways.
Well, I said he's, I said he's a genius because it was probably best for the fans, the media, the TV. I don't know if it's the best for the coaches or the players. This is a draining season. I'll bet you that even you guys are more tired than you were in an 18 game. I mean, it is a grind. And, you know, I mean, I appreciate what Jim's done for the league and everything else, but let's not put roses on that thing now, okay? Let's figure out that, Jim did do a lot of things, and the 20 games, we went from 16 to 18, 18 to 20. But it's got some, you know, it's a long season. It's a real long season, and, you know, and I don't know what'll happen in the playoffs, and I don't know how many more teams we will get in or won't get in. That'll be an interesting case study that'll probably have to go 5-6 years to figure it out. But for the exposure of the Big Ten schools, the television packages, to have something like we're going to have Saturday where Duke and Carolina are playing and Michigan State are playing. And you can set up those games at the end of the year and all that. Unbelievable. I think it's unbelievable for our university. Errors, I think it's unbelievable for the Big Ten. And so, yes, he deserves a lot of credit for that, but I promise you, for a coach and a player, you know, I'm still a little apprehensive on what is too much. And, you know, and 2 more conference games, as I told you, is that was not an easy game for us. Okay, that team is what?
15 and 15, 5 and 14.
What are they in the league, though? I mean, as far
5
as
and 14.
which is where? 13th. And I told you the bottom of the league is harder to beat than sometimes a good non-conference game. That hasn't changed. So we'll give Jim some credit, and we'll still give Tom a little credit that it's a grind. And, you know, only time will tell on how many teams we get in, because that selection committee better look at, you know, I think, are we the only conference now that's playing 20?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think, put it this way, I don't think the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12 or the Big East, I don't think are. So, you know, those extra, there's going to be some losses because it's hard to win in conference play. So Jim deserves a lot of credit for what he's done for all these universities and how he's taken the this TV package to a new level. I'm just a little skeptical here on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Well, I was just going to ask you, I was going to go back to the... Tonight, I know the grind has been going on, but in some ways did it seem like a November game because you had different lineups in it, different players playing extra minutes?
Oh, no!
Well,
November game? Do I look like it's November?
I know there's a grind, but what I
I
meant...
feel like it's... No, it did look like it for...
In terms of testing players kind of with new roles and so forth, that's what it looked like in terms of...
Yeah, the only problem with that is we haven't been able to work with those guys. I mean, like, we swore as DG and I figured out our lineups and how we can make sure we get Foster in and make sure we get Gabe in. And we said we don't want him in there when there's 3 freshmen. And so early in the first half, Cash was a little, you know, not quite where we needed him as far as his knee. We had 4 of them in there at one time. And that wasn't healthy for me. But that's nothing against them either. It's just that those guys haven't played together like that either. So when you're running things and executing things or switching and doing some things defensively, and you've got that kind of, you know, guys just don't know what guys are, and you know, I tried my hardest to get the NCAA to put those cell phones on our belt buckles so we could text each other when we're switching and that, but communication isn't quite as good on the new millennials. And so I think when those guys haven't played together and didn't understand each other, we had some lapses. They had a layup, they had a wide open three, you know, we had some lapses. So hopefully we can shore that up, but we'll see. And I look forward to seeing you all. I guess we have a press conference tomorrow. We have one every day or what?
Why ruin a good thing? Keep them going.
Why ruin a good thing?